Welcome, everyone, to the Women's Council of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers CEO Growth Series. We are back again, and I am so happy. Today, we have the privilege of engaging in a meaningful conversation about one of the most important aspects of leadership, especially with our organization, leading with faith. Faith-centered leadership goes beyond titles and positions, and it's about serving others, making value-based decisions, and inspiring positive change. And today we have none other than our third vice president, Ms. Tori Nunley. Hello, Tori.
Hello, everyone.
And I have to say that her leadership not only reflects professional excellence, but also a deep commitment to faith, service, and community impact. I've seen it myself. I've experienced it. It's awesome. So we're going to have some conversation to gain valuable insights into how faith shapes leadership. And so, as we begin, I encourage everyone to listen for the lessons, experiences, and wisdom that can help each of us become more effective leaders in our own spheres of influence. So, Madam Tori, just starting off, we want to know a little bit about Tori Nunley. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your space in real estate?
Absolutely. Well, hello to everyone that's out there watching. Like Madam Ria just spoke, my name is Tori Nunley. I am out of Douglasville, Georgia. So I'm about 20 minutes outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm really very close to the city, but not that close to it, on the outskirts of it. I've been now in real estate for 18 years. So very excited to be there. And I am an associate broker with EXP Realty. And I have also been a son. So empty nesting, working businesswoman, and I'm also heavily engaged into a lot of different community organizations here in the city that does a lot of the work that I have been doing, home buying education, financial literacy. I have from one county to the next, I'm involved in some sort of way doing those classes.
So we have, and then also we've been in a leadership development course. You've really
Yes.
participated in that. So that's another offering that Women's Council has to its members. And so I think with, all of the challenges in real estate, we definitely have a lot on our plate, both managing our businesses and being a leader in an organization or even in your business. And so we want to just kind of dive right in and talk about faith and leadership. And so, how has your faith influenced your leadership style and decision making?
Oh, it has influenced it a lot because it allows me to, one, have grace with
Mm,
individuals because we're all coming from different walks of life, even different raising up and different mentoring inside of like business and leadership. So it has allowed me to have grace, but it also has allowed me to understand how to lead and also how to serve and also how to conflict resolution. When I tell you I'm so it now brings me like little smiles to my face when I'm reading my word and I
mhm,
see different stories or patterns inside of the Bible. And I'm like, you know what? This is exactly what we're going through right now. It's no different. So it
mhm.
allows me to really be relatable inside of my leadership journey because it's really written there how to have faith inside of leadership, how to have faith inside of being a businesswoman, a mother, etc. It's all written on how to do that right there in the word.
So true. And so we deal with a lot of different personalities and lifestyles. And so,
Mhm.
as a leader, we can't just say, well, I've never experienced that or I don't know what you're going through. I agree. One of the first things, especially when there's conflict, I stop and try to think, what is this person possibly going through in their life right now? And I
Right.
think that is very instrumental to be empathetic as a leader because you don't have to. be or experience. You don't have to be like that person or experience what that a person has experienced in order to navigate their emotions and feelings. And
That
so
is correct.
I'm glad you pointed that out, that we can see those same stories and how to work through them right from the
Yes,
Bible. So can you share a time personally when your faith helped you navigate a difficult like leadership challenge?
absolutely. That's a good one. It has actually has happened not too long ago. I could say probably less than a year ago,
Hmm.
where I had to really, especially when you have leadership that is before you, and you kind of know the right way of doing something, or you know that something's supposed to be done the correct way,
Hmm.
integrity wise. And so it really took me not only so much prayer to get through that particular situation, but it also took me saying, okay, like we just said, like you don't know, everybody has their own bringing up, right? Whether it's in their environment, their lifestyle, their leadership. So where I had to really take a step back and say, okay, Tori, everyone has not been brought up with the type of mentorship or the type of leadership that you have been, surrounded by. So
Hmm.
let's take a step back and let's really see how this individual is trying to bring forth their truth, because everybody has their own truth, right?
Hmm.
But
Right.
is it really coming from a place of integrity? And if it's not for you to like demise that person or to say, you know what, you're not going to no longer deal with them ever again. It's just to really know and understand this person really just have this process of thinking, right?
Hmm.
And it's their process of thinking. You're not going to change it, but what you do have to do is you have to shake it off. You have to now understand where that person come from and try your best not to let that cross over ever again, if you can avoid that. So
Hmm.
that really allowed me to really just stay calm in the situation, but also just know we're coming from two walks of life of how you do something inside of leadership. And I just
Hmm.
had to take it for what it was.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And so you're like really actually speaking to me right now, I have to say. And so
Yeah.
And so, when we set our organizational goals, we're set out to inspire the community, right? But also we're working our business at the same time. So how do we ensure that our organizational goals remain in line with the faith-based values and principles of the Women's Council of NAREB and not personal? Because I think sometimes for people that's kind of like a gray area because
Yeah.
we're real estate professionals. We do business in real estate, but we have a second hat, so how can we use our faith-based values to kind of align with our organizational goals, you think?
I believe that it once start off with you understanding the mission.
Mm,
Right.
hmm.
Really understanding the mission, because if you understand the mission, you understand the vision, and you even understand the values, right? You understand the values of this amazing organization. Honestly, you don't really have to venture off into your personal, you know, faith walk or whatever you may want to call it, because it's already laid out there for us. We don't have to go to the right or to the left. And inside of that, we already know what we have to do. So I believe if we stick to the mission, we stick to the vision, we stick to the values of it, and we also, and I would even go as far as we stick to the protocol of it all,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That would help to
Right.
eliminate the personal side of doing what we need to do, because it's already laid out for us. This organization been going on now for what? Almost 60 some years?
Hmm.
70, 71, so like almost 60 some years. So we don't have to kind of like recreate it. It's
Hmm.
already there. Now, does that not mean that we don't evolve and we don't grow as time and stuff is growing? But that has nothing to do with tampering on the mission, the vision, and the core values of this organization. That will help you to stay in alignment on what you need to do, no matter how many more generations are coming before you.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Thank you for that. And then with our local board presidents, they're leaders in their local areas. And so what strategies or even opportunities within Women's Council would you say that they could use to inspire others to embrace and advance our faith center mission? Now, I know we have, if they come to the conference, that's usually the first aha moment, right? When they're
Yeah.
coming midwinter, they're coming to the prayer breakfast, or at national, they come to the scholarship luncheon. But you want to share, Madam Tori, what other opportunities that are aligned with our faith-based mission that the local boards can really pull on to inspire others?
Yes, we have so many things that they can actually get involved with, especially on the national. You have our like this right here. We have this particular, platform where you can engage other women to come along to hear about the other women that are doing things inside of Women's Council of NAREB. But you also have our monthly meetings that the local board, local chapter presidents can even also be involved in. We're very in so much engaged in it on the national and to the local chapters to help them to better service their chapters and their members and everyone that is joining in. And I will also go as far as to say that the executive team that you currently see in this moment, we're very, very resourceful or touchable. Like you can really reach out to us and we can really be a hand-holding participant in what you're trying to do on a local level. So I think there's many opportunities. Yes, come to the prep breakfast. Yes, come to the luncheon, but there's so many things in between those months where you can have a hand into these masterminds that we do, the CEO businesswoman talk that we do, the just the local reach that you can have access to us. So I think it's many things that you can
Mhm.
do inside to just make sure you stay connected. So you're not doing this by yourself and you do have a platform that can help you to build out those chapters.
Yes, Madam Tori. And what I also love is that because we are faith-based, a lot of the opportunities that we have to reach out to the community are through the church. And
Yeah.
so, there are some members that maybe work for, mortgage. We have all aspects of brokers and agents in our organization. And sometimes I find that, I have a background in mortgage and
Mm.
working for banks, there's kind of like a fine line of where you cross over as far as working with the
Yes.
churches in the community. And
Yes.
so when you turn on that nonprofit women's council hat, you're no longer a representative of a bank, or if you don't own your own brokerage, to really, align with your faith in reaching out to community and partnering on a deeper level, I think, with the community churches. Would you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that. I think that's one of the biggest things that we really do have at our assets and our accessibility is to have those different type of local partnerships. And
Hmm.
they actually want it and they actually need it too. So it doesn't take nothing but for us to reach out to really get that relationship going, but it definitely deepens the mission, the value, and the mission, the vision, and the core values that we hold with Women's Council of NAREB.
Hmm. So now, Tori, I'm gonna get a little personal and just talk about Tori, the businesswoman, Tori, the CEO. How do you maintain accountability in your personal and professional life with all the many hats that you wear?
That's a good one. It's really staying true to myself and my calendar. One,
Okay.
that's the first thing that I do. And I also stick to a routine. I don't like to say ritual, but I like to stick to a routine, something that I can be committed to. And one of those things is starting my day off in prayer, also starting it off in my word. Like I must have that space to do so. And even towards the end of my day, that allows me to stick to what really matters. Because once you get to what really matters, really, and that's really it, like your faith, all the other stuff that comes in the middle of it, you can really navigate accordingly. It's never going to be, I never ever have a day where every one of my days look the same. But what I do know is how I started and I know how I ended. and those things that comes in between for the business side of it, it gets done. And I also make sure that I understand that I'm only one person. I can't do it all, right?
Mhm.
So wherever I need to delegate, wherever I need to say, hey, I need your help because I'm not too big to say I don't need someone help, then I'm going to do that. But one thing I'm going to do is protect what I do at the top of my morning and what I do at the evening of me closing out. And I stick to that. And that helps me want to stay sane, but also to stay, not being so intense about everything that goes on in the middle because it's going to always have something going on in the middle. But that front
Mhm.
and that end, it got to stay consistent.
I love how you said you must have that space. So you are demanding of yourself your personal time. And so
Yeah.
that I think is so important, even just with a family. I even found myself honestly sometimes having to take myself out of the house to demand that personal space, but that
Yes.
clarity and that time,
Yeah.
that silence of saying, okay, I'm going to take on the day, embrace the day. What do I
Right.
have? What's going on? Instead of rushing into waking up to all the demands of a family. I think that's so important. So I love how you said must have, like, because
Yeah.
sometimes, I'm like, oh, hopefully, but no, must have.
It's a must. But the funny part is I have not always been like that. I recently, again, maybe within the last year and a half, I really just got consistent with that. And you
Mhm,
would be surprised how much clarity that comes to your business because by the time you do that, you know exactly how you need to operate. You know exactly what those dots you need to connect to make sure that that in between works. And it has helped me so much. And actually, one of my mentors told me how to even protect the not only the start of my day, the end of my day, but even the top of my week and the end of my week.
mm,
And it
okay.
helped me so much. So I'm not all over the place. I'm not scattered. Again, I can take on an event here, an event there, and a meeting here, and some different type of coaching or sessions in the in between, and don't be stressed out. Not saying that it's not a lot, but I have learned how to protect that so
Mhm,
I can really be show up and be present the way that I need to be in all the things and all the many hats that we all
mhm.
wear.
And I think that what I love about NAREB and Women's Council NAREB is the fact that we do have chaplains on our board. And
Yeah.
I have to say that I can't just I can't name the number of times that the chaplains within this organization have
Mhm.
helped me navigate through difficult times where, you go forward into the community and leadership with, a smile, open arms, solutions for everyone. And then you kind of sometimes can step back and say, okay, what about me? What about
Yeah.
what I need? What about what's my solution to this?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like being a servant, and but forgetting then to really check on yourself. And I really, really appreciate the fact that I've had people that are, believers in the Lord that can help me navigate through those times. And I
Absolutely.
mean, it's just it's replaceable. It's like no money could
For sure.
compensate
For
just
sure.
that help and that upliftment. And so, in speaking of being a servant, can you tell us about a time when you put the needs of others ahead of your own to achieve a greater purpose?
I'm
I know
first, so
we
we
do it
do
out
that
a
every
lot
single
because,
day. I'm gonna say we do
yeah, I
that
know.
every day.
I know. I'm like, I know as real estate professionals, we're servants every day because the check does not come until
Every
we
day.
close the deal and make sure
Every
someone
day.
else is taken care
Every day.
of.
We put that first before anything. And just this past weekend, honestly, I taught all last week. I had to do a pre-license class for those that's entering into real estate.
Mm,
And I had to close out the week on that Saturday with a full day home buying education class, right? And I was tired. I was tired, but I was grateful and thankful that God has given me the capacity to do something to that level that I can one switch to teach people how to come into this industry to one ending up on a day where I have, 10 amazing single moms that's trying to purchase their first home. Was it not
mhm,
worth it?
right.
Absolutely. Like that is the servant part that I get to just enjoy and have these women to come into this class and say, how long this information been here? I'm like, it's always been here. But you
Hmm.
probably haven't been to a class to understand it. And for them to leave and feeling empowered and feeling like, you know what, I can really achieve this goal. And I don't care if it takes me 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, they can do it. And so I feel like that is me all the time, putting my tiredness or my like, oh my gosh, I got another week or I got another weekend of classes, on the back burner and really being an advocate. Because that's what we all are, right? Advocates, we are servants and going out into the community and really helping those that do not know. We know
Hmm.
it, but they
Hmm.
don't. So, like, I feel like that's always the journey of you putting yourself on the back burner to be the serving good for your community, for your family, for your
Hmm.
neighborhood. Hmm.
Definitely. Thank you for
Sure.
that. And so you kind of touched on this earlier, but describe a time when you've helped resolve conflict within a team while maintaining respect, compassion. I think that is definitely, I think, a challenge sometimes for people that have experience, right?
Hmm.
They want to
Hmm.
share the experience with others. They have a passion for leadership, but they have never led people. And then you come in with this, enthusiasm
Yes.
of, saving the world, and then you come across some conflict. And so for those that haven't led before and don't have
Mm.
that experience,
Hmm.
what would you say? How would you navigate or help them through resolving conflict within their team?
Oh, I love that question. First, I will pray.
Oh, that's
You have to, right?
yes.
Because that is
Yes.
so true. We have new leaders that come in with such enthusiastic vision, right? Or goals or things that they want to see and experience. But the first thing that you must do, and I feel, is that you must know that are not the first,
Mm.
right? You're not the
Hmm.
first. So
Hmm.
what does that come with? That comes with knowing that there are others that have paid this way for you to sit in that seat, whatever that seat is, right? Others had to come before you. So there's going to always be someone that knows a little bit more about that seat, about that position, about that organization, a little bit more than you, always.
Hmm.
So what we then have to do is respect that there's individuals before you. But that also allows you to be the best leader you can be because you know why? Now you're not doing this alone.
Hmm.
Now you're
Right.
not going at this with, yes, your vision, yes, your ideas of what you want to do, but now you can say, you know what? Somebody else was here before me, so let me ask them, let me pour out my vision to them, and let me see how they can help to guide me inside of this or navigate my vision, my ideas inside of this organization. And
Hmm.
so I believe if you stop there to know that one, somebody was before you, two, respect that there was individuals before you, but three, lean into it. And it's okay. Like you can still be the leader and lean into your predecessors. Like you can still lean into them because guess what? You eventually is going to be a predecessor.
Right.
And guess what you're gonna want to do when that new leader come up, they're excited, they're hungry, they're ready to do what they need to do. You're gonna want to make them feel like they can lean into you. So
Right.
I think and I feel that if we can get into that pattern of knowing that there was someone before us, lean into it, listen, listen, right? Then that can help you to navigate so much conflict that can come up against you when you're trying to be the visionary or be the person with the ideas. If
Hmm.
you follow that, I feel, and just even in my experience, that has helped me to be the leader and to also lead others to say, you know what, they see something that they want to eventually obtain or to achieve, but you have to lean into it so you can know one, what you're doing because you don't know what you don't know, but two, how can you help to direct the next person that's coming up behind you?
Hmm. Definitely. And when we talk about challenges in leadership, also there's challenges, and we have the privilege of you being a housing counselor, right? And so
Yes.
there's challenges within our community too. How do you keep those people that are working towards the path of home ownership encouraged?
Uh, Good. Being honest.
Hmm.
Honestly, that's the number one thing. I tell any client that comes to work, start working with me, like I'm the counselor that's going to be very honest with you. Are you okay with that? Right? I had someone ask me how you feel about a certain particular industry, and I was like, I have nothing against that particular industry because they do coincide with real estate. However, I'm going to help you to be accountable for whether it's budgeting, whether it's your credit, whether it's your savings. Like, I'm going to be the person that's going to talk about those things and help you to understand what you need to do as a buyer coming into this market. Because if I don't, then I'm not doing my job. Like, I'm not doing what I am set out to do. So I'm very clear on being honest, being transparent, because I want these individuals to make the best educated decision they can make regarding the biggest purchase of their lives. And
Right.
I don't see no other way but to be honest and truthful. And again, even if that means that it takes you another 6 more months to do some additional savings, so you're not coming in with the thought that everything is going to be paid for. Like, no, you still need to have some type of capital in your bank account, right? I
Hmm.
got to be honest with you about that because I need you to be prepared. And so it helps me to be honest, be transparent, but to really just make sure that I'm doing the best that I can with the knowledge that I have because I would want that same type of information if it was me on the other end.
Now, Madam Tori, as you're working through the community, can you tell us about some of the organizations that you partner with that you feel that are aligned with your mission?
Yes. So there's one here particular in Georgia. We have United, not United, but the Urban League.
Mm,
They're very much so a great partner of the work that I do, that we do here in the community. We have another organization, Marvelous Light. I love their leadership training. I've been in their leadership training for years, and so I'm very, very intentional about participating and supporting other organizations that is doing such a good work. There's also we have our ID housing counseling here. So
mm,
we have different counselors that is within those different branch offices that I'm very, very much so attached to and love to partner with them. We also have the Metro Fair Housing Services, again, talking about fair housing. So there's a great deal of organizations that I love to align myself with that does the same exact work, and our missions are just the same. It's just coming from different pots.
mm. And sometimes people can be discouraged about going after corporations because of the tie into a faith-based
Mhm.
organization. Do you find that that's difficult to align with corporations, or do you find corporations are partnering with you as well?
I feel corporations partner with us because they see the work that we're doing.
Hmm.
And it's not typically me, hunting after them or, me trying to chase down someone. Really, they see the work that we're doing in the community and they just ask, how can I be a part? What can I sponsor? And I'm talking about corporations like Kroger's, Publix, just other big box companies or that's here in the local market. They want to be a part in some small way, some big way, just to show that they have a community aspect on what they're doing, even inside of their company.
Hmm. And so I heard you mention that one of the organizations that you partner with does leadership. So how do you continue to develop your leadership skills?
I'm constantly in some leadership of whether it's a webinar, whether it's in person, whether it's just something I'm doing self-paced, whether I'm reading, I'm constantly reading. So I'm always, because you can never know. And then, of course, you have our leadership designation that, Women's
Right.
Council of NAREB, we have that. And also on the other side, NAREB has a leadership academy. So I'm also involved in that. So I'm in two different leadership programs right now simultaneously. going on at the same exact time. And I love just exploring different types of leadership just to understand if I'm, continuing to go down the right path. So I'm always involved in some type of leadership training.
So the goal is to keep with the education. You never can stop learning. I know in my own experience in being in different spaces and leadership training, there's, always new situations, scenarios, or even understanding, like we mentioned before, not coming from a certain background or having certain experiences. When you collaborate with other leaders, you can learn how their experiences and what they've been through with different situations can then help you so that when you're faced with the same challenges, at least you have a guide or some navigation of what somebody else may have experienced, good or bad, and what they've learned from so that you can incorporate in your leadership style. So I definitely want to thank you, Madam Tori, for this time. I want to take this opportunity, as we're recording right now, you are our education chair. And so what could you say to our members as far as on an individual level and also on a local level and beyond? But starting with an individual level, the importance of education and reporting what they're doing in their community to our Women's Council National.
Is always important. It is always important because why? That's part of our mission here at the on the national level, right? Is to really to teach and to train and to educate. So we want to make sure that our local chapters are doing the same thing. So if you're in your market and you have a home buying class happening, you have a financial literacy, you have a woman in business type of class or session that is going on, like have that reported. It really does good to the organizations to show, yes, we have this as a mission on a national level, but we have grassroots chapters that are involved in their communities in different markets from California all the way to Georgia, doing some of the same type of work. And like it really brings an impact. So I encourage, if you are not yet a part of Women's Council, right? To join the Women's Council. And if you are a member, let your chapter president know what you're doing. Those are things that can get reported. Those are things that can bring on the impact to show that we're doing it because you're already doing it. But now we just need to expose, hey, we're doing this here in Ohio. We're doing this here down in Florida. We're doing this here in Georgia, in California, in Jersey. So there's so many ways for us to really like bring together that national vision just from our local activities that we are doing. So I encourage you to report. We do it on a monthly basis. Again, if you have not yet reported, let's start reporting because it does make a big impact for us.
It really does. And thank you for sharing that. There are so
Mhm.
many of our members that are doing amazing things and they don't think to report it because it wasn't under the local board umbrella, but you are a member of Women's Council of NAREB. So
Yeah.
everything that you do community wise, you're representing Women's Council of NAREB while you're doing it.
Sure.
So definitely let us know because we want to celebrate you too. That's a
Yes.
lot of work and that is being put into your community and we want
Mhm.
to celebrate you and push you forward in the mission. And so, again, thank you, Madam Tori, for joining us in
Thank
our
you.
Women's Council CEO Growth Series. And to our listeners, we inspire you to keep growing in the space as the CEO that you are, and look
Mhm.
forward to continuing following us here on our YouTube page for more inspiring messages. Thank you for joining.